Quick little warning message before this episode begins. We had a few issues with recording on Andrew and Ethan's part. Something went wrong with microphones, USB, I don't know, something went wrong. So please excuse the audio. I did my best to fix it. Trust me, it was a lot worse than what you're about to hear. So, without any further ado, here's this next episode of Usually Disappointed.
Hi, everyone. It is once again the Chuckle Shit Show. It's Ethan.
It's Andrew.
It's your boy Ben.
We kind of overlap there. Not very professional, I must say.
Very, very professional.
Nothing
your
but
turn, man.
nothing but the biggest professionals.
Well, of course.
Yeah, we've been doing this for almost 20 episodes now.
Wow, look at us. Aren't we rad as hell?
Yeah, I think we're becoming pretty seasoned, you know.
Yeah, I'd say so. We're getting there. You don't need a rundown on what we do here at this point. We talk about video games. How freaking cool is that? How funny and original. Let's talk about games in which that we've played over the past couple weeks. Ben, tell me game.
I've played, I believe, 2 games to be exact. I finished up Doom Eternal. I played it through the second time and got all the collectibles, so that was fun. And then I started playing Portal 2.
Yay!
And so I'm decently far into it. I'm not going to say where exactly I am in case people listening have not played it.
Dude, how old is it now?
Yeah,
11
it's
years old?
2010. You can
That's a
say
good
where
point.
you were.
Yeah,
plus
so-
it's a puzzle game. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm in the old lab section. I've just discovered repulsion gel.
That stuff is fun. That's like probably my favorite part of the game, honestly.
It's really fun.
The old lab and... you just discovered what? Joe?
Repulsion gel.
So you
Oh,
bounce
I
around.
misheard you. I thought you said Revolver Joe. I'm like...
Oh, Revolver Joe.
Like a different game.
I didn't know that Revolver Ocelot changed his name again. His name's now Revolver Joe.
Now he's in Portal.
Oh boy, the Metal Gear crossover I always wanted.
Portal and Metal Gear.
Yeah,
so...
J.K. Simmons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love J.K. Simmons. He might be like top 5 actors for me.
Oh, yeah, he's
He's
he's awesome.
great.
But, so I've been playing Portal. I've been really wanting to get back into, like, Bloodborne and actually give it, like, commitment because, I've been listening to the soundtrack, and the soundtrack slaps, dude.
It's good.
It's amazing, and so I'm just like, I need to jump back into Bloodborne, but at the same time, it's gonna be a huge time commitment, and I don't know if I'm quite ready for that yet.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna be playing shorter games. But so and then I also played the game that we're gonna be talking about this episode. So yeah.
That's always a given, or at least it should be at this point.
Yeah.
That'd be like alarming, like just randomly. It's like, oh, I didn't play that one. I played a bunch of other ones. So.
Yeah. Andrew, tell me what doth game hath thou played?
Nothing super interesting. I was playing 3D World. I 100%ed the base game
nice.
once again for the second or third time, I believe.
King.
It's actually the only 3D Mario game that I have not 100%ed, because I actually never got around to beating the super difficult final level that every game has. That one was brutal. I could never finish it when I was 16 when I first played it, because I don't know, I just didn't have the patience for it. But
I can, because you're a total Chad gamer king.
Yes, that's something I really want to brag about, is 100%ing every 3D Mario game. So,
Hey man, take your victories where you can, bro. We got a #1 victory royale.
yeah, I don't have any other victories to...
Yeah, Fortnite, we about to get down.
Yeah.
Alright.
On the other side, I tried playing Hades again. I haven't played it since January. And jeez,
Oh, yeah.
I suck. I'm so bad.
I need to get back into it myself. I totally just kind of like let it go for a little while.
I haven't even gotten to the second boss yet, and I've already had 15 runs.
I haven't even beaten the second boss.
I've gotten to what's apparently the final boss, but still haven't beaten him yet.
You got the Hades, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the final boss. I'd be surprised if there was something else.
I think it is.
That'd be weird. Maybe you fight, like, Persephone or something.
I don't know.
I doubt it. That's probably the ending, is like he like finds her in like a flower field, and I don't know.
I'm not gonna say anything further. We don't want to spoil the story, bro.
Greek story. I think. Actually, I don't know if Zacharias comes from Greek mythology or not.
I think he's original OC Do Not Steal. I don't know. It's been a while since I've read up on my Greek mythology. I always like enjoyed reading it when I was in school, but I've fallen off of that in recent.
Greek is a bit played. I would like to see more like more unknown mythologies being turned into stories. I think that would be a lot of fun.
You gotta read Norse, man. Norse kicks ass.
I've heard my fair amount of Norse as well, and Egyptian. Like, those are the big three.
Yeah, I was gonna say Egyptian's also really cool, but I think there's some like interesting like Chinese and
Chinese. I'd like to see some Chinese mythology and maybe some like give me like Aztec. Like, that'd be wild. Yeah. Hades is a good game. I just suck. It's hard for me to. It's hard for me to enjoy something that I suck at, unfortunately.
Well, that's the thing with Hades, though, is that it's really hard when you start off, but like the more you die and the more you keep progressing, the easier it tends to get because you get more powerful.
That's the thing. I don't think I'm getting better.
Well, it's not. You have to keep upgrading stuff and like
I
unlocking
just suck,
things.
dude. You don't understand. I suck.
How many? Well, here's the thing, Andrew. How many hours do you have in the game so far?
Like 5.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's gonna take more than 5 hours for you to.
Well, I know. I'm not expecting to like get to the final boss already, but like, I just kind of stagnant. Like, I can't like. I get to around the first boss, and I either lose to her or I go slightly beyond.
The game is at least 20 hours long, so I mean, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. That's fine. Like, I've been kind of like bouncing around myself because I'm like, I see the game and I really enjoy it for what it is and everything, but it's like, this isn't really my kind of game. So I think that's kind of one reason why I sort of fell off with it. So I mean, if you're feeling that way, I mean, I don't blame you at all. I mean, you can like or dislike anything for any damn reason you so please. But yeah, no, it is going to take a little more than 5 hours to really kind of
5 actually.
Get into the groove of things and so forth. And you know, if you're okay with that, then great. And if not, then like I totally understand. Like, I don't blame you. So don't sweat it.
What's some other like roguelikes though that you guys like?
Binding of Isaac's pretty fun. That's the only other one I've really like put a lot of time into. Otherwise, because like I've like touched and go'd like certain other games. I can't really think of much off the top of my head, but they're not
Dead
much
Cells.
my style.
What'd you say about?
Dead Cells is another one.
I've been thinking about trying that one.
Yeah.
Is
Hades your favorite though?
What?
Hey, sorry for interrupting. I'm just asking if Hades is like the favorite one you've played though.
For me, yes.
Yeah.
I know that I believe it's the expansion for Prey, Moon Crash. I think that's a roguelike. I haven't given that a try. I should at some point, but I haven't just yet. Maybe it's on the Game Pass version of the game, because I think I got thrown on Game Pass on PC because of the Bethesda acquisition went through on my birthday nonetheless. Quite interesting to see that all in the news. But yeah, no, I think it might be, yeah, Prey is there, but I don't know if Prey Moon Crash is in there as well. It would be interesting to see, but
Okay, so I was finally able to get into Steam here. I was just gonna say about Hades, Andrew, that I have 7.2 hours in it, and I still haven't beaten the second boss. I've only actually reached it like twice.
I actually might be in like a similar boat there. I think I said 5 because playing on Switch, and for whatever reason, the way that it tracks time is only in like 5-hour increments for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Which is odd.
The Switch is a bit annoying in that regard. I mean, I like that it tracks time, but also at the same time, it's like, bro, can we get like per hour?
The Wii U had a way better thing. It was like down to the hour. It showed you like how much you played every day. Like the Wii U had that. How come the Switch?
The Wii had that as well.
That's
Because
weird.
Nintendo is a 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of company, and they will always remain that way.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, that's definitely the trend with them. And if they have it all, then they lose it all, and then they have it all, and back and forth.
So what other games have you been diving into, Sir Andrew?
Just the game of the week. Like I said, only a couple games.
Okay. Over the past couple of weeks, I've played a small handful of things. I hate myself. I did this. I didn't mention it on the last podcast episode because I played it before that point. But yes, I've dabbled in a bit of the fork knife.
Oh yes.
I feel so weird about it because like I hate it like a lot, but also it's like I it's fun enough that like maybe once a week or twice a week I'll boot it up and like play around or something, or if I got a friend I'll play with. It's not good. I kind of wish that Epic Games still made good games. You guys made Gears of War 3. Like, why does this game feel like... It feels like an asset flip. It looks like shit. It doesn't play all that well.
You're talking about Fortnite?
It's not even that fun, honestly. It's like...
I will say, it, like, coming from PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Fortnite was, like, leagues better.
Oh, yeah. No, I bet, because PUBG literally was an asset flip. That's all it was.
Yeah.
The only problem with the visuals with Fortnite that I have is that all the ladies look the same. Like, they have the exact same body type. Like, that's the only part that bothers me.
I just don't like its overall, like, style, I guess. I mean, I don't mind cartoony, but, it's, I don't know. It's a bit too just, like goofy, haha, try to be hip with the kids. And that kind of extends to its cosmetics, because I hate the cosmetics more than I hate, like, the general art style of the game. Dear God, I hate it. It's awful. But, you know, here we are. I've played a bit of Fortnite. I don't really like it, but I've dabbled in it a little bit. I've won a couple games at this point. But yeah, that's Fortnite. I don't recommend it, but everyone plays it anyway. Another game that I wouldn't recommend, but no one's played it, thankfully, is Shaq Fu, A Legend Reborn.
The games you play sometimes.
So, okay, here's the thing. So, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a history lesson. Shaq Fu was released back on, like, it was on one Commodore computer. It's not like the oldest Commodore computer, but it was on a Commodore computer. I know it was additionally released on the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. I played the original Shaq Fu with a friend because he owned the Sega Genesis copy of the game, and it's shit. It's a terrible one-on-one fighter game that controls like garbage. So, years later, about like early to mid-2010s, there's a joke that kind of starts getting passed around. It's like, oh, dude, Shaq Fu, funny, yeah, man. And so Shaquille O'Neal, like, and a couple other, like, businessmen thought, okay, well, everyone's going, haha, Shaq Fu. Why don't we create a Kickstarter to make a new Shaq Fu game? So they did. And they raised a bunch of money, which I don't know why Shaquille O'Neal needed to raise money. The dude's literally made of money anyway with all those damn icy hot advertisements and everything, but I digress. Anyway, they released Shaq Fu, A Legend Reborn. It under-delivered on like all the promises it made. It's a shitty single-player like side-scrolling beat-em-up game. Have you ever heard of a side-scrolling beat-em-up game that's only one player? Seriously. Shaq Fu's the only one, I swear. Final Fight, Streets of Rage, Scott Pilgrim, Castle Crashers, the Simpsons arcade game, so many more. The Aliens vs. Predator arcade game, all of them allow at least 2 players. So this is only one player, and you play as Shaq. The game looks like shit. It doesn't feel all that great. Though it's functional. It's functional. It doesn't feel great, but it's not terrible. But man, it is just a dated meme game. It's like, oh haha, funny memes. And also, on top of it, it is extraordinarily, like, really cringe for a lot of reasons. Transphobia, homophobia, lots of racism against Chinese people. Like, I'm not kidding. It's really bad. Like, ooh. Like, I was kind of cringing in my seat as I was playing the game. I was kind of like, oh, dude, I don't like this. This is not very good. But, like, the game's like 4 hours long, and I beat it. And the reason why I got it, because I work at a pawn shop now. I'm a pawnbroker. And, you know, we get video games that come into the store and everything, and then one day, like, some friends came in to visit me while I was at work, and, they pulled Shaq Fu on PS4 off the shelf. They're like, bro, and I'm like, oh shit. So I picked that, and I put it in the back room to claim it. At the end of the day, I was like, I talked to my boss, I was like, hey, I want to buy this, and he's like, oh, okay. I bought it, and then played it on my day off and beat it, like, a week ago, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I spent my day off playing this shit. So, you know, there you go. Shaq Fu, A Legend Reborn, absolute garbage. I might throw this in the description, but there's a YouTube video I'd really recommend to really get a good idea on what the game is and how terrible it is and everything. I can share it with you guys later. But outside of that, I haven't really dabbled much in Call of Duty recently, only a tiny bit here and there. I just got really bored with that new update that I complained about last episode. Let's see, what else? I've been playing the Angry Video Game Nerd 1 and 2 Deluxe on Switch. Everyone knows who the Angry Video Game Nerd is, right? Like, at this point, we should all know.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah,
I have a vague idea.
Yeah, he's an internet superstar, pre-YouTube content creator. He's one of the only, like, early online video creators that doesn't suck nowadays. But, yeah, no, a while back there were a couple platformer games that were released officially via Screw Attack while they were still around. And, yeah, no, it's pretty cool. They recently, I say recently with air quotes, but they did this deluxe edition where they took both of the platformer games, put it in a single collection, remastered some visuals, gameplay, made it play a bit better, added new difficulty and accessibility options, and it just recently got released on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, but I was like, this is the kind of game I'd play on my Switch, and yeah, no, it's definitely the kind of game I'd play on my Switch. It's a pixel art 2D platformer, which sounds really played out, and it kind of is, but there's a lot of, like, interesting stuff to really shake up the mold. It's real good. I like it quite a lot. I beat the first one. I'm working on the second one right now. But after you beat both of them, there's a brand new level or set of levels that's only for this collection that unlocks. So I'll just keep working through it, and I'll see how the rest of it goes. But it's pretty good. And I'm trying to think. Oh yes, 2 more games. It's funny because I haven't really finished anything, but I've been working on more stuff. Ratchet and Clank the original.
Hey.
I've played through it before. I think I finished it years ago, but I've been playing through it again. This time the PlayStation 3 version of the game, and no, it's really fun to like go back and revisit it. But I have a couple things about it, like. It sucks to say, man, but games we played when we were younger, they're beginning to age, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I was playing the game and with the weird camera controls and everything. I'm like, oh no.
The most annoying part of that game to me was just that the checkpoints are extremely vague, and a lot of them you have to like basically restart the whole level.
Yep. Yeah, that was that's one of the other complaints that I have, is that the checkpoint system is a little too unforgiving in some places. I also think the game is like kind of outstaying its welcome and its length. I'm kind of at a point where I'm just like ready for the game to end already. Like, come on, let's.
Where are you at right now?
Jeez. The name of it, I'm not entirely sure. It's the one where not Ratchet. Now it is Ratchet. Dumbass. After I grabbed the O2 mask and got the upgrade for Clank, you go back to that one planet.
Orxon,
Yeah, poison gas planet place.
The stinky planet.
Yeah.
That was one of the better ones, in my opinion.
I really like that level,
planet, but, I'm at this point, I'm just kind of waiting for the game to end. But, like, I was looking at the trophy list, because there's trophies, of course, for this PlayStation 3 version.
Dude, trophies for that game are insane.
Well, I actually looked, and it's not that bad, honestly, as long as you have a guide to look at where you get the skill points and the golden bolts. Like, it's not that bad, so...
Well, I mean, I was more talking about, like, the collecting, like, 1,000,000 bolts or whatever. I've only done that once, and it was really tedious.
Yeah, I guess. I'll play it by ear. I mean, even then, I can, like, still finish the game, and I can come back to it later if I want to, but, yeah, I've been working on that. Also, I finally jumped back into Yakuza a little bit. Nothing to report there. Playing Yakuza Kiwami 2. Whatever. Then... the big game, I guess, that I've been playing over the past little bit is, I've been playing Ring Fit Adventure for the Switch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I had some leftover money from a company that shit-canned me a while back on a Target gift card that I was given for Christmas. And I paid basically $10 out of pocket for Ring Fit Adventure, so I'd say that's a #1 victory royale, mans. But yeah, I started playing through Ring Fit Adventure, and it's really fun, and it's really intuitive for an exercise game. I was so surprised. We have long past the days of the Wii Fit, where you just stand on a balance board and it says, "You're fat, let's just bend and stretch," and so forth. It's like, okay, yeah, but I'm not really exercising when I'm just, bending around on the balance board and, so my little knee's head can bounce the soccer balls or whatever. I'm not doing anything. This is stupid. No, Ring Fit Adventure is so much better than that. It's like, okay, let's find out, what your exercise level is. How do you want to start? We'll figure it out as we go. It checks your heart rate by putting your thumb on the IR sensor after you're done with workouts. Then it will read that and say, okay, what kind of exercise was this? Moderate exercise? Was this too strenuous? Do we need to go a bit harder? It goes, it has stretch regimens that you can do before you start your workout, and after as well, and then it will, after you complete levels or something like that, it's like, hey, we did really good today. I know we didn't go very long, but hey, do you want to take a break and we'll get back up on this tomorrow? And it's like, wow, cool. And you can also set it so that it will send you reminders so that, it'll bother you on your Switch, say, hey, fat ass, it's time to work out. I'm so surprised. It's an actual workout tool. I'm extremely impressed.
That does sound really neat.
Yeah, I've done tons of squats, overhead presses, yoga poses, stuff like that. Lots of running in place, jogging, high kicks, stuff like that. It's really, really intuitive. My cat is meowing outside. I'm going to kill him. Shut up!
That got so dark.
shut up! No one cares! Oh my hell, I'm gonna freaking strangle him.
So, have you seen results?
I mean, I've only done like a few workouts so far, so one thing I will say is that on top of the whole, quitting nicotine and stuff like that, I've really noticed that as time continues to pass from that, and then also working out as well, I feel like my lung capacity is better. I breathe easier. I feel more pumped when I'm like walking around at work and so forth. I don't get tired nearly as easily because that's the symptoms of being a fat guy. So I haven't been able to look in the mirror and be like, oh yeah, look at me or whatever, but I have felt better overall. So
That's
awesome.
Really happy to hear that.
Yeah, no, and that's good enough as it is right there. As long as I'm feeling better, then I'll take it. But as far as games, for me, that concludes. Again, I have a bunch, but I haven't finished anything. It's just a cavalcade of shit that I haven't finished. So, I can't believe it. The only 2 games I've finished in the past 2 weeks is Shaq Fu, A Legend Reborn, and the Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures.
Excellent choices for sure.
The true gamer. I'm the true gamer, Chad. So anyway, let's talk about another game. One that I really love. I recommended this on the last episode. At the very end, I recommended that we all sit down and we play a cinematic type walking simulator game called What Remains of Edith Finch. It's one of my favorite games. It's become one of my favorite games recently. I love it. It's when it comes to narrative in games, it's honestly probably my favorite when it comes to that. I mean, I've really enjoyed what I've experienced with it and so forth. It's quite a beautiful experience, and it is available on Xbox Game Pass in case anyone's interested in giving it a shot and they don't want to, it's like pay $20 for a 1 to 2 hour game. It is on Game Pass, so you have that risk-free to try it, and you can finish it really easily and so forth. But I remember at the end of the last episode, you guys were kind of intrigued, like, oh, okay, cool, sounds neat. And I think from what I got from Discord messages is that you guys, at the very least, found it interesting, which is good. I mean, I didn't expect everybody to like it, but to at least find something interesting about it. So I'm curious, what your guys' thoughts are on that. I'd like to start with Andrew.
I have a lot of thoughts. It was really good. Really good game. I loved the presentation for it. I actually didn't know going into it that it was like a 3D CG game. I was actually kind of expecting something more cartoony. That's not a criticism. The presentation where first of all, you can learn so much about the characters just by looking around the room. And the interior is so well decorated. That's one of my kinks, is really well decorated rooms in video games. I think those are awesome.
There's a lot of great non-verbal storytelling in there. Lots of narrative through visual and visual only, and I loved that too. We're on the same book on that.
Yeah, it was crazy how detailed the interior of the house was, or just the game in general. I think it's the most believable house I've seen decorated in a video game.
Yeah, I'd say so too. Even though it's got so many weird doors and passageways,
and secret passageways and all that stuff,
and weird decorations around the place, it still feels real in a lot of ways. It's really cool. It's this is obviously a fantasy game in that it's not real life or anything like that, but it feels so believable in that regard. And no, it's so freaking cool.
Yeah. That just kind of goes to show, like, when you just have, like, a very small space to, like, polish up and decorate. So, like, games that take place in, like, small, like, buildings and interiors and stuff, like, they tend to be, like, incredibly dense, like, way more dense, ironically, than, like, games that take place outside, which seems counterintuitive, but since you have more, like, it's just, it's like the perfect representation of that old saying, like, less is more, you know? Like, when you have less space to work with, you have more opportunities to, like, flesh something out properly.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I really loved the presentation of it. The voice acting and, like, how, like, the various creative ways that, like, words are, like, plastered on walls and stuff like that. Super good. Gotta say, my favorite presentation moment is, well, actually, I don't know if this is my favorite, but it's up there. There's the flip book moment. Yeah, that animation was, like,
so
really good,
good.
and putting that in a 3D game is really impressive.
Did you know that's not a baked-in animation? Like, it's an actual, like, flip book.
Yeah,
it works like a flip
it
book.
looked like a flip book animation.
Like, you can stop it in the middle, and it'll stop the animation. It's not baked in. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. That's the other, like, favorite one is the older brother, his, like, flashback. You're, like, chopping fish and, like, walking through this, like,
dude.
That one
medieval.
was so good.
That one was my favorite. Yeah.
That one is also quite good.
I'm getting chills talking about this because, like, it does. That story really, I mean, I don't want to say it resonates with me because this is Dead Family, the video game.
It can resonate with you without you, like, relating to it.
In that, like, the story had a real, like, impact on me, which is saying something because I'm usually a very big stickler about story in video games because I stand by the fact that I think a large majority of video game narratives are just garbage, and that's fine. Like, they don't need to be fantastic or anything. I care more about the gameplay than anything else, and if the narrative hook is just, hey, go shoot things, then, like, alright, cool, go shoot things. I don't care. But when, you know, narratives actually kind of go above and beyond and actually try to make something, you know, really unique and cool, and it doesn't need to be, you know, Uncharted cinematic. Oh, look at this crazy climbing sequence that we're doing for 20 minutes. Like, you know, piss off. But when we take things slow and we tell a very intricate but personalized narrative like this, it really hits me because we don't see this a whole lot, at least in mainstream games. I mean, I'm sure in the indie circuit we see it everywhere, and this game is still technically indie, but it like it's become popular enough that a lot of people are aware of it, and so forth. But the narrative was great, and I feel that a lot, especially in those segments where you're talking about, like, the fish and everything, how the gameplay works. I wanted to ask, did you guys play, what platform did you guys play on?
Steam.
I played Steam.
Steam? Okay. And Andrew?
Yeah, Steam.
Steam as well? Okay. Did you guys play with a mouse and keyboard or a controller?
Mouse and
Controller.
keyboard.
Really? Andrew played with a mouse and keyboard?
Yeah, weirdo.
But Ben played with a controller.
If it's a more cinematic game than, like, a precise game, I will often opt for the controller just because I can be more casual with it. Because, yeah, like games like Doom, definitely mouse and keyboard. But if it's something like, I don't know, like what Remains of Edith Finch or something like that, then yeah, definitely controller.
Okay. Yeah, because I played it with a controller, and the one thing I really loved about many segments of the game is that, especially with the fish sequence, when you're playing with a controller, you know, one analog stick is controlling the ship as it sails and the person as it's walking around in the fantasy world, and the other one is controlling the hand as it cuts the fish. Or when you're doing when the brother is on the swing, that one, you have the analog sticks. Both analog sticks are controlling both legs, so you pull in the sticks to pull in the legs, and then pull them forward to make the feet fly forward and everything. That was one thing I really loved about the game, because one real big negative talking point that people have about walking simulators is that they don't meld the gameplay with the narrative all that well, and in a lot of cases that's true. Where it is just walking and you're not doing anything interesting. But what I love about Edith Finch is that they're integrating gameplay in interesting ways, like the swing, like the chopping with the hands and everything, where you actually are getting like dynamic gameplay while you're getting the story fed to you. And I love that so much. It's honestly like one of my favorite bits of gameplay, period. And I know that's like a stretch, because, you know, when you think of, you know, like good gameplay, you think of Doom Eternal, Dark Souls, you know, like
complex
like
mechanics
that.
and stuff.
And for good reason, of course. Those games all play fantastically. But, you know, complexity doesn't always mean that it's the best. Sometimes simple but refined and perfected is just as good, if not better. And I feel Edith Finch does that in a lot of really interesting ways with how they do it with control that way. I wanted to ask Andrew, because you were talking about playing on a mouse and keyboard, how did playing with a mouse and keyboard kind of affect segments like that, how they would otherwise work with a controller?
Based on what you just said, I'm actually kind of regretting that I did that. I did overall like really enjoy the game. It's like an 8 or 9 out of 10 for me, but definitely there were moments where like you're supposed to do something like with a bit more finesse or whatever, like move the mouse in a certain way, and I would like mess up and I'd like kind of go backwards, like the flip book, like I was just talking about it earlier. I actually accidentally like stopped halfway through, and then Edith actually closed the book, so I watched the animation again, which that was interesting. Not to mention my, I think the cooling pad on my laptop is malfunctioning, because I feel like it was getting like way hotter than it should have been.
Dude, that's just laptop gaming as a whole. Take it from me.
Okay, well, yeah, like a lot of the time I was like, you know, like pressing like forward on the key, and like my fingers like burning. I kind of like keep like switching fingers, and I was like, I want to enjoy this more, but like my hands burning. Yeah.
I feel yeah. So that's interesting. I totally recommend if you can. And again, the game is really short, but obviously I understand if you don't want to play it again anytime soon. I don't blame you. It very much feels like a one and done sort of experience. But I would recommend, if you ever do give it another playthrough, play with a controller. Actually, it's a real interesting experience with the controller.
I think I might actually play it again, because because a lot of times it's like movies of like this same genre, of like a similar genre. Going through it once, you get the base story, but then going through it again, you discover new things, and so I kind of want to play
details.
it again. Yeah.
Yeah,
Most definitely.
On that topic, is there things that you noticed on your second playthrough that you didn't before, Ethan?
Funny enough, I actually didn't run another playthrough of the game, but I kind of knew what to look for my first time through a little while ago. This game is so burned into my brain, I didn't really need to run through it again. But there was a lot of interesting things that I picked up on even my first time through that a lot of other people hadn't. And I also watched, after my first playthrough, I watched a great video from game critic man Joseph Anderson, where he
watched
did like
the same video, yeah.
Yeah, that 45-minute breakdown video of Edith Finch. And there's a lot of really cool stuff that I kind of picked up on. I hate talking about this part, because this part just absolutely like just ripped my soul from my body. But the baby scene.
That was the saddest part.
Yeah.
For me.
Dude, the first time I was playing it on the Xbox. I was upstairs with my family, and they were just kind of watching me and just kind of watching the game and everything, and then I'm sitting there, I got tears just pouring down my face. I'm just crying, so I have big sniffles, like, oh man, I don't like the babies, they're sad. And then the whole swimming scene and everything, I was just crying, like, just hardcore bawling. It's still, even thinking about it, I'm getting worked up just thinking about it. I know it's fake and everything, but it's babies, and even though I don't like kids or anything, I don't want, dead babies or anything. That's awful. Anyway, snap back to reality. Oop, there goes gravity. Yeah, one thing I picked up on that was really cool is that when you're looking at the documents post after the baby died and everything, and you're kind of looking at the stuff there, you can actually see a lot of interesting details in the divorce papers between the husband and wife at post, when the baby drowned, looking at details and some of the things that they say between each other and how they're trying to like pass blame on it and so forth. It's really unique. I also really loved looking at some of the ironic things, like how people die and then you kind of like look at some of the stuff that's in their room and it's a bit like a bit interesting.
Like the older brother's got a bonk like on his desk.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, no, it's stuff like that. It's real unique. Again, love that visual storytelling, man. So good. I'd recommend you give that video a watch if whenever you can, Andrew, because it's really good, and I can throw that in our Discord chat as well, and I can even link that video in the description of the podcast, because it's a real good one, and I'd highly recommend it, because it's a really good story breakdown of the game. But of course, like, watch it after you've played the game, so you can pick up things on your own for the first time through, and then kind of give that one a watch, and maybe pick up on a couple other things, or look at new interpretations and so forth. That's more interesting. But yeah, I wanted to ask then, favorite section. You guys already said I heard the fish one, which yes. that's a good pick. Is that your favorite, Ben?
Yep, that's my favorite.
You, Andrew?
Yeah. Well, this is like definitely like a game that's trying to emotionally resonate with you, and
exactly.
And so like motifs that tend to make me the most like sad and vulnerable is like life snuffed out prematurely and life being squandered. Like those tend to be the two things that make me the most sad. So the baby, dying young, and the brother squandering his life are definitely the parts that resonate with me the hardest. So yeah, plus those are probably the two best presentation moments. Actually, a lot of like the earlier ones with like the people that Edith didn't know. Excuse me. The people that Edith didn't know as well, like the people that died before she was born. Like those ones actually tended to be a lot more simple in their execution, and maybe that's reflective of she didn't know them as well, and maybe that was entirely intentional. The other part of me is like, I wonder if like the development was like rushed slightly in those areas, but I want to side with the former because that feels more artistically sound. So yeah, definitely like the baby and the older brother. Like their scenes would definitely make me the most sad, and like the flip book was probably my favorite like visual moment of the game. So, and those were all like in the last like 30% of the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in terms of like the soundtrack, actually, Milton's the flipbook scene, the music that was playing there was my absolute favorite. Milton's Castle is the name of the track, and I was like, oh, dude. But I mean, the whole soundtrack is awesome, but like especially there for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Would you guys agree that like the last 3 or 4 memories are like the most like emotionally rich part?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, definitely.
We kind of jumped forward ahead a little bit. I wanted to kind of talk about my favorite section on here, because it is kind of a bit different from what you guys. I would definitely say the baby, and that is certainly the most emotionally resonant with me and everything. But the one I'd probably say I enjoyed the most, I guess, on a narrative level, would be the guy who was locked in the basement for decades, and him finally breaking through, then getting hit by a train. I really loved that whole segment. It was quite fantastic. I really loved that one a ton. So
the presentation of it, like how you see the calendar on the left.
Yep, and you get the shaking, everything rattles, and the can opening all the time, and you're listening to his thoughts, and how he's kind of losing touch with reality and so forth, and then he finally like breaks through the wall, and you hear all the cracks, and then the light just booms like right in on there. Like again, so wonderfully presented. Presentation. This is done so well. This game looks so good.
It does, yeah. Also, just the tragic irony of his final moments is like, you know, he's been stuck in the basement for 30 years, and then he, you know, finally exits, and the music becomes hopeful, and he's like stepping out to the sun, and then, you know, hit by a train. Literally like seconds from his freedom.
It's better than him just dying down there, though. At least he felt like a moment of freedom before the end.
That's true, yeah.
Which, jeez.
Tragic that his moments of freedom were just, you know, so short-lived, but at the same time, I guess it was a better way to go than dying alone in the basement.
Perhaps. Another big one was like the little girl who's like transforming into different animals.
Oh yeah.
Towards the beginning. That one was like trippy. I was wondering if like the whole game would be like that, where like you're going through like different like modes of traversal or whatever, and like a bunch of these like little mini games. It was mostly just that one, but that one was a bit different in that it was more just like really creepy as opposed to tragic, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Like it goes from like there's also like the comic book scene, which is a bit more comical. So like it starts off a bit more lighthearted. Now that I think about it, then it gets heavy.
It gets heavier because
yeah, because leaves you crying at the end.
Yeah, I think the reason for that is that like because Edith is less familiar with those family members at the beginning, it almost seems kind of like legend, you know, that's just been passed down through the family history. But the reason why the ones towards the end just hit so much more heavily is because she was personally involved with them, and you know it's and I guess it's like in a more modern sense, whereas, you know, like back then, I guess they're more, you know, stylized or whatever and all that. But like the more modern stories definitely were rooted more in like, you know, everyday trauma type stuff. For example, you know, like the fish story with it's not anything crazy, you know, like getting poisoned by Holly or getting, you know, like killed by a home invader or evil boyfriend or something like that. But it was just, you know, straight up, you know, substance abuse and depression.
Yeah.
And then with Milton, you know, it was, you know, probably discovering, you know, the craziness about his family and then wanting to escape it all. And then he just, you know, disappeared and stuff. And yeah, I think that's kind of where that comes from.
Yeah. It gets a lot more visceral as the game goes. Yeah. It's really surreal at the beginning, and then it gets like, just like really uncomfortably real as it goes further along.
Yeah.
Like the disillusion between like Edie and her mother, and like ripping that book, and like, oh jeez. Jeez. Yeah, this game is definitely pretty harrowing in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Quite the emotional roller coaster for something that's 90 minutes ish long.
For real, though.
Really put you through the ringer.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought was really cool about the fish scene in particular was how like believable they made the effect of having that brain cloud seem. Because like obviously, I mean, because you already talked about doing the two different tasks at once, but like the way that they presented it as like as a cloud that was like growing bigger and bigger on the screen. It legit like felt like I was like, you know, drifting away into a daydream while on the, you know, my day job and stuff like that. It definitely had a very real effect in that way. It was yeah, I don't know, I just thought that section was just especially cool because of that. You almost always saw the fish in frame.
Yeah, and that brings up something, is like, that's probably the best representation of a daydream I've ever seen in like fictional media. Ethan brought up earlier, like, comparing this game to Uncharted. Like, Uncharted is like a game that's trying to emulate movies, and perhaps that's why some of its story kind of falls flat, because it's a video game, so it can never truly succeed in the same way a film would. But this is a story that can only really be told in the form of a video game. And as such, it feels a lot more poignant because it actually adheres to the strength of the medium as opposed to Uncharted.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
Boom, you hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah, that's what I do. Just call me the hammer. It's hammer time.
Andrew the Hammer.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did y'all think of like the soundtrack?
Soundtrack tends to not stick with me, but it was definitely pretty. But like, I have a hard time remembering like motifs or like or chord progressions or anything like that. It really has to stand out. Like, I only remember like soundtracks from like Harry Potter and like Lord of the Rings and like really famous movies.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I wish I had a better ear for music so I could like pick up on like melodies or whatever. But it's just harder for me for whatever reason.
Yeah, for me, like, just the soundtrack, like, the instrumentation and just, like, I guess the melodies and stuff like that, definitely it contributed for me a whole bunch to the atmosphere of the game. And so, like, you know, as short as it was, I felt like I had, like, just because of, I mean, many things, including the soundtrack, but I felt like I had, like, actually lived, you know, the lives of like this through the life of this family and stuff like that. It was just 2 hours, but it felt like so much longer, and that's a good thing because it just meant like I was truly invested. It was really neat, honestly. One of the coolest gaming experiences I've had in a while.
Yeah, definitely. Although I guess we should bring up, is there any problems you guys have with the game?
Back when I played it on the Xbox One, I guess my real issue that I really had with the game was, it ran like shit on the Xbox One, and I don't really know why, because, like, the game isn't, like, graphically intensive or anything, but oh man, it ran like shit on the Xbox because I played it via Game Pass on console. This was before it became available on Game Pass on PC, and I played it on the Xbox One S, so it's still running the basic power that the base system had. But yeah, I mean, it was really choppy, frame rate slowdowns, and yeah, again, a lot of screen tearing and stuff there as well. I own it on PS4. I'm thinking about playing it there, and I could probably even play it on my computer, and I could probably get it to look and run better. But outside of that, the only real, like, problem I guess I had with the game was some of the control during the, segment where the girl eats the berries and
that's what I was gonna say
is the animal. Yeah, some of the controls with that are a little wonky. Primarily the owl trying to catch the rabbits. That was the only one because I was kind of like, how does this work? But I figured it out pretty easily. And the cat climbing stuff was fun, but it's linear enough. Like, I got stuck for a tiny bit, but it's linear enough that it's pretty easy to figure out where to go after that.
I got stuck on the shark.
Yeah, the shark was so easy for me. All I did was just roll downhill, man. The shark, I loved that.
The thing, I guess, the thing for me was like I got like because it gets you stuck on those trees, right? And
yeah,
I wasn't exactly sure like how to. I guess the controls for getting it moving were weird at first. I eventually got it, but I was just like, okay, what the heck? I'm stuck here. I was like stuck there for like 5 minutes trying to get the shark to bounce away from the tree.
There's actually an achievement.
I don't know, and then just
on the L section, there's actually an achievement of like doing catching both rabbits on one on your first try. So the devs know that that's actually kind of tricky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, just the animation of the shark falling down the hill was like super goofy looking, and so it kind of pulled me out of the game for a minute because I was just like, oh, it just looks like a dumb like simulation.
Yeah, that's probably
found on like Reddit or something.
Presentation moment that looks pretty janky.
So yeah. I get where you guys are coming from, but I don't think it really bothers me a whole lot because, I mean, maybe if we were going through the perspective of an adult character, maybe it'd be a bit weird, but I mean, this is a little kid that we're talking about here, and
true, yeah.
I feel that, you know, because like, I even then as an adult, I'm an adult, but I still have like kind of like stupid, goofy thoughts like that and so forth. But kids are full, like their imaginations are just so wild and so forth. And I feel that kind of like fits with a kid thinking of like, oh, what's an absurd but like funny thing, like, oh, what would be really cool and so forth. And I kind of like thought of it through that kind of perspective. So it didn't really bother me. But I understand though if that kind of like took you out of the experience a little bit.
Yeah, because for me the intro to the game was just so like was just so intensely like well presented,
serious, yeah.
Well, yeah, and just like everything else, the presentation of the intro is just so well done that when I got to that section, I was like, oh, this is a bit janky compared to everything else in the game that I've seen so far.
Yeah.
And so I was like, but I mean, at the same time, that's such a minor criticism. I'm not. Yeah. In that moment, I was just like, oh, it's a bit weird. And then, like, I just kept playing.
On the topic of minor criticisms, the camera section, I had a hard time figuring out what I was supposed to do there.
Yeah, no, I remember my first time through, I had a hard time figuring out one of the pictures, too. I had to look up exactly what was thing I needed to snap a picture of. It's the one where I think, you're at the lake, I think. It's at that one. Correct. That was the one that I was stuck on for a little bit. So, otherwise I kind of had an idea what to do for the most part, but yeah, those few sections I was stuck on.
I eventually realized that you just got to look for the whoever. You just got to look for the subject of the picture, whether it be the dad or the daughter. Because I think that was like from what I remember, that's what like advanced it was like if you took a picture of them doing something, then that was like the target.
Yeah, also like some birds at some points. And then there's a time where he like sets the camera and you have to like run up the hill.
Oh yeah, I was really confused at that section. I was like, wait, he's just standing there staring.
It's like, is he like taking a selfie?
Yeah, I was waiting for a second, and then I think I moved like the analog stick, the right analog stick, and I was like, oh wait, oh okay, and then I like walked him up there.
So yeah, all of these critiques kind of boil down to this being a video game, and at some point there will be some sort of like janky like control. That I think that's just kind of a given with video games. But as we discussed earlier, it's a story that could only really work in a video game. So you just kind of have to take the bad with the good in that case. I don't really know if you could ever truly make something perfect in that regard.
Yeah, something that I on my backlogged review of it, I put like even masterpieces are flawed, and so that's kind of the perspective of this is that like to me, I think it's definitely like a masterpiece in terms of like walking simulator narrative gaming, but it obviously does have its flaws. I mean, nothing is perfect.
Yeah. That doesn't take away too much. That's all that keeps me from giving it like a 10 out of 10. But yeah, it's very close to like being perfect in most regards.
It's yeah.
Yeah, I have very little.
And then again, like the criticisms that I have are pretty minor. The other criticism I have is that like I don't know, like just based on the mood that I got going into the game and then going through the rest of the game and just like witnessing some of like the different deaths and stuff like that. Some of them felt like a little, I don't know, like absurd or like tactless sometimes, and so it's just kind of like there was a point where like I understood that people were just like dying repeatedly throughout the story, and I was just like, oh okay, and then I didn't really get like that emotionally like affected by most of them, except for I think the baby was jarring for sure, and then the fish scene was the one that kind of resonated with me the most. And then of course the guy in the basement, but everything else was just a little bit like, okay, yeah, they're gonna die, and how are they gonna die,
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was my thought of it. That's kind of what knocked off like a point or two for me, was that some of them just felt a little like I guess a little tactless is what I thought it was.
I wonder how this game would have worked if there was some sort of mystery element where you don't know how they died and you like kind of have to figure it out or something like that. I think that would make it a bit too video gamey, but I don't know. Yeah, just play Return of the Obra Dinn if you want that, I guess.
Yeah. I don't think it would have worked as well that way. I don't know, just with the vibe that I got going in, I was expecting the deaths to, I guess, be a little more like emotionally centered. So like when it got to some of the more like some of the, I guess, trippy sections, like the beginning one. Because, like, if you really think about it, a 5-year-old being put to her room, being put to bed early without dinner, and then being so hungry that she tries to eat anything in her room and accidentally ends up poisoning herself, that's tragic. That's, like, seriously tragic.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, the way that it was presented, like, I didn't quite understand what had happened, and so when she said, "And I look delicious" at the end, I was more creeped out than anything, and I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, that was weird.
That's definitely the vibe I got the most from. Is this like partly a horror game? Like, it's not. Like, that's probably the only one that's creepy.
Yeah, and then Barbara's story, like, where I thought the presentation of Barbara's story was, like, really freaking good. I thought the idea of, like, you know, going through the comic book panels and then playing some of the panels as, like, a first person thing.
Yeah.
Was I mean, I guess the whole game's first person, but I thought that was really neat. But I guess the weight of Barbara's death at the same time didn't register for me, because at the end of it, it was just like, oh, she got eaten by the monsters, and then you don't really understand what happened until you actually think about it. And I was like, oh, it was probably her boyfriend or a home invader or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that one might have also been a tad too long. Maybe just a little bit, but
a little bit. I enjoyed it for what it was, but
yeah, no, I enjoyed it too. Don't get me wrong. I really love comic books, so like that was appealing to me, definitely.
Yeah, overall though, I think all the stories were interesting for sure. None of them felt boring. None of them felt like they were a slog. Like I was invested in each of them. It's just that some of the early ones just kind of had like a more, I don't know, disconnected effect to them. So to where I was just like, the death didn't really like register for me or hit that hard, even though a few of their stories are pretty tragic.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we kind of discussed that earlier, where it's like, it feels like the more Edith knew the person, the more emotionally resonant it is, which is kind of poignant in a way. It's like, yeah,
it's very much her perspective on everything.
Yeah, for sure, and that's where I'm just like, okay, that makes sense then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, very purposeful. Like, I feel like every decision in this game like had some sort of creative intent behind it, and I don't think anything was like, you know, shafted or not properly developed because they like ran out of time or whatever. Everything felt like it had a purpose and had like some sort of like artistic vision behind it. Maybe some of it isn't as emotionally like resonant as other parts, but it doesn't feel like it's that way due to like incompetence or whatever. It feels purposeful.
Well, the weirdest part for me that got me teary-eyed, which was the part that I didn't expect it to. Like, I didn't even get like, I got like I mean, obviously I was just like, oh, this is, you know, like, it affected me a lot during the fish scene. That one definitely resonated with me. But the part that, like, I guess to where it, like, it was the cracking point or whatever, was like when her mom passed away, and then she suddenly realized she was alone, and then it played the end credits and stuff like that, and it was showing all the developers like with their childhood pictures and stuff like that. I don't know why, but that got to me. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm like overly nostalgic, but like I don't know, it was just reminding me of like my childhood and stuff like that, and I was just like, oh
yeah. I think we've all had a moment like that where like you look at old pictures of yourself and you start feeling like a sense of longing for those times.
Yeah, so that's what got me towards the end, was like letting go of her mother and then realizing she was alone in the world, and then just seeing and then like obviously there was the part where it revealed that it was Edith's son that was kind of reading her perspective from the story from her journal, and then it played the credits, and then I just thought it was really cool just how they were using the devs like childhood pictures. Yeah, and so that part got to me, and I'm not exactly sure why that got to me over some of the more tragic deaths, but it did.
It seems like a motif that gets you a little teary-eyed is nostalgia, like, and like times lost. So that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. That's a very valuable part of like games that are or any story really that's like trying to be emotionally charged. It teaches you things that like resonate with you, things that make you sad, and I think that's valuable. Mm-hmm. Like it teaches you about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, this game's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I definitely will play it again.
I'm glad you guys all really liked it. I was really hoping that this was going to be a winner here, and I thought it was a pretty safe bet, and so I was right. Happy to be right. Glad that you guys all liked it. So, arbitrary numbers out of 10 if nobody else has anything else to really say about it, or 5. 10 or 5, whatever rating scale you prefer.
I'm torn between an 8 or a 9. I wouldn't give it a 10 because there are definitely like parts where I was kind of taken out of the moment, but it was definitely nothing that like truly irked me or anything. So I'll give it a 9, and maybe it might go down to an 8 or maybe even up to a 10, depending on if I were to replay it and like notice new stuff. But yeah, for now I'll say a 9.
6. Bam.
Yeah, I would say mine sits at around a 9 as well.
Nice. I give this 5 out of 5, baby. 5 stars. Sick. It's so good.
So good.
Yeah. So that concludes thoughts on What Remains of Edith Finch. Fantastic game. Totally play it if you haven't already. If at this point you're listening to this and you haven't played it, well, it's spoiled, but it's still good anyway, so play it anyway.
Play it anyway. It doesn't take that long. You can do it in the same amount of time that you watch like a movie. So
exactly. You can beat it in an afternoon. You can beat it 3 times in an afternoon.
You could, yeah.
Yeah.
Or just like, you get home from work and you instead of like, watching Netflix for a long time, just, sit down and play What Remains of Edith Finch. Yeah. Definitely worth it.
Yep.
All right. Well, this leads on to Ben with a new recommendation. Wait, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not.
Used to be Elias,
is it because? Yeah, because Elias left, and now I'm not sure where we are. So.
It's you. You
Okay.
give game what play?
Give game what play? Crap. I didn't actually think of one. Let me take a look here real quick.
Give me something good, or I'm gonna beat you to death.
Oh no. I'm trying to look for something that doesn't have that's not like super long.
I could think of a few. Something that's short, but something that people might generally like.
Even one that you guys may or may not like. I'd just be interested to hear your thoughts on it. One that I guess if I kind of want to go on the same route of like walking simulator type stuff. So this one, I'm not sure if you guys will like it as much. I mean, obviously you won't like it as much, but this one was an interesting one because I played. What?
Vanishing of Ethan Carter.
No.
Gone Home.
The original was one of the most iconic horror games, indie horror games of its time, and it actually inspired a lot of modern gaming mechanics in horror games that we have today. But the sequel was not in the same vein, but it was really interesting in its own right.
Scary games. Yeah,
Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs.
Yep.
Oh boy. I haven't played the first one.
You don't need to. It's not connected in any way.
Do I even have it? No, I don't.
How much is it on the store? Because actually, this might change depending on how much it is.
I'm not spending a lot on a scary game.
Oh,
$20.
it's $20.
Screw that.
Yeah. How about I take a more in-depth look at some of the stuff that I want to share with you guys, and I will get back to you guys.
And after about 15 minutes of useless conversation, here is what the boys came up with.
All right. So after some deliberation, we have decided on a game that we're gonna play for these next 2 weeks, and that is Halo Combat Evolved. We're all gonna play through the campaign, and then we are going to play some multiplayer together, and we will come back on the next episode and talk about that. Yeah.
Halo. Yeah.
'Cause, yeah.
So Halo is obviously a co-op experience and everything, but I would highly recommend you guys maybe play the campaign single player. At least your first time through. But yeah, after done with that, I'm totally down. Let's throw down on some multiplayer, bros.
Yeah. You guys are gonna destroy me.
I don't know, man. I've played Halo my whole life, and I'm still terrible at it.
Yeah, I'm not very good either.
The only game mode I'm good at is SWAT.
Because that's just headshots all day.
I think you guys are...
Playing that with a mouse and keyboard means you win all the
I
time.
think you guys would be truly dumbfounded about how bad I am at FPSs. Yeah.
Oh, the cool thing about Combat Evolved as well is that I've played only a little bit of it, so I'm not really sure of what exactly is going on in the game. But I did discover that you can switch between the original and remastered graphics, like, on the fly.
Just play the original. The newer graphics are absolutely terrible. They completely ruin the art direction of the original game. But we'll get into that when we talk about it next episode. Aha, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. I ended the episode. Look how cool I am. Plugs, go away. Go away.
Go away. I guess we won't do our plugs.
Go. I can't talk. Andrew, give me plug.
You can find me at artstation.com/Andrew Langston. If you want to commission me, you can email me at andrewlangstonart@gmail.com.
Badass. Ben.
You can find me on Letterboxd and Backlogged at Thunderfellow, and additionally on Twitter at Thunderfellow. Letterboxd and Backlogged, I do reviews. I haven't done anything on Letterboxd recently because all I've been doing is playing games. But on Twitter, all I do is shitpost. So if you're into that, then follow.
Hell yeah, man. He's got some banging tweets. You can follow the podcast itself on Twitter, and as well as join our Steam group and our curator page, which I keep forgetting to update. Dear Lord, I cannot talk today. Why do I host a podcast if I can't even communicate properly in my native language? Oh my hell. Anyway,
I've moved.
Schmood. Yeah, so you can follow the pages for there. Remember, if you join our Steam group, you don't automatically join the curator page because Steam is a shit show. Anyway, besides that, you can follow me personally, although I'm the only one who posts on the podcast Twitter account anyway, even though I gave the login information to Ben. But you can follow my personal account at SirKBO on Twitter and Instagram. I mainly post story updates on Instagram more than really anything else on there. But I've been getting back into collecting records because my new work is right next to a record store, which is really bad. But, I got Wham's Make It Big for only $8, so I'll take that as a #1 victory royale. Yeah, Fortnite, we about to get down. You can also find me on Medium. I don't write anything there, but if you look at my shit there, I can still get like $1 kickback a month, which leads, whatever. Additionally, CBR, I haven't written anything for CBR in a while, but maybe I'll write an article. Go check out that, and Letterboxd and Backlogged as well. But you'll find all of the links to all that shit, as well as my Twitch channel that I don't stream on anymore, but I need to at some point, all within the link tree in the description of the podcast, as well as the videos that I have recommended during this episode. That be it, baby. Edith Finch, good game, usually disappointed, forever. That's the Anthony Fantano sign off for his reviews and everything. I don't know if you guys watch him, but
I do not. But that sounds like a good ending to me.
Yeah. All right. Well, goodbye.